Hello everyone, welcome to week 4 learning videos once again. This is the last learning objective today, learning objective 6. So in this learning objective we will be discussing portfolio attribution calculations. After determining the optimal allocation across asset classes, it then becomes important for an investor to be able to evaluate their performance. We previously looked at a portfolio evaluation, but in this particular case, we are going to look at portfolio attribution that enables us to identify the exact cause of over or underperformance by disaggregating between asset allocation and security selection. So the process of portfolio attribution is all about decomposing overall investment performance into its components. The two components of the two main decisions that made by portfolio managers are the security selection decision and the asset allocation decision. Portfolio attribution is really all about a process of benchmarking. So an investor will select an appropriate benchmark whereby that benchmark will comprise both the benchmark asset allocation decision and the benchmark return within each asset class. Once that benchmark is created, that's often referred as a bogey portfolio and is used as a measure of expected returns for each of asset classes. In order to attribute performance to its components, an investor must calculate the return on the bogey and the return they generated on their managed portfolio and use this to explain the differences in returns based on either the weighting across asset classes, which is the asset allocation decision, or the returns within each asset class, which would be different due to security selection decision. So let's take the example to see how this is done. Let's imagine that our bogey or our benchmark portfolio is one that has 60% investment in the equity portfolio, 30% investment in bonds, and 10% in cash or money market securities. And the return for each of these asset class portfolio is 5.81%, 1.45%, and 4.81%. These are the benchmark returns. Now, if we use our normal return calculation, the weight times the return of each asset class to see that the bogey and the benchmark portfolio generated a return that is 3.97%, whereas our managed portfolio has generated a return of 5.34%. So what we find is we actually outperform the bogey portfolio, and the degree of outperformance is 1.37%. So now what we will see how this 1.37% is attributed to asset allocation and security selection decision. So first we will see the contribution of asset allocation. And you can see the three asset classes: equity, fixed income, and cash. These are the weights of the managed portfolio. So 70% invested in equity, 7% in bonds, and 23% in cash. And these are the benchmark weights: 60% invested in equity, 30% in fixed income, and 10% in cash. These are the weights of the benchmark portfolio, and these are the weights of our managed portfolio. Now we can see that we have overweighted equity in our managed portfolio by 10%. We have underweighted investment in bonds by 23%, and we have overweighted investment in cash by 13%. So these excess weights are multiplied by the benchmark returns: 5.18% for equity, 1.45%, and 0.48% for fixed income and cash respectively. And these are the multiplication results, and we sum them up, we find that 0.3099. So this 0.31% is the contribution of asset allocation decision. Now, if we see the contribution of security selection, these are the two asset class, equity and fixed income. So these are the performance generated by our managed portfolio: 7.28% by equity and 1.89% by fixed income. And these are the index performance. That means performance our benchmark portfolio: 5.81% in equity and 1.45% in bonds. So this is the excess performance of our benchmark portfolio: 1.37% generated by equity and 0.44% generated by fixed income. And these are our managed portfolio weights. So you can see that our equity portfolio outperformed the benchmark equity portion by 1.47%, and our fixed income outperformed the benchmark portion by 0.44%. We multiply it by the weights of the managed portfolio, and this is the multiplication result, and we sum them up to find out that it's 1.06%. So the contribution of security selection is 1.06%. So what we identify is that our managed portfolio outperforms the benchmark portfolio by 1.37% from the previous slide, and from this 1.37%, 0.31% is the contribution of asset allocation decision, and 1.06% is the contribution of security selection decision. So this is how we actually attribute portfolio performance to the key major decision taken by investors. That's all for this learning objective discussion. Thank you very much.